Labdien and greetings, students of Euroscola.
Hello, everybody.
Ahojte.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Bonjour, or how we say in Portugal, bom dia.
The EU was established to maintain peace, security, prosperity, and stability. To serve these purposes, we, the youth of Europe, need to participate, as after all, we will take the helm in the future. Unfortunately, there are many young people in the EU who do not feel involved and do not vote in European elections. To solve that, we need citizenship education to make sure the youth gains enough knowledge to be able to become a part of the community.
Porta su Yasemimu, to Yasemistim, porta su Yasemimu. Kirtana to kladepso o javrimu.
For us, it's clear that in such difficult times of global warming, war, and nationalism, the European Union must stand firmer than ever before. Especially we, the young generation of Europeans, will have to fight these challenges for almost our entire lives. However, it is not as bad as it seems to be. As long as we stand together as one Europe, we can and we will handle these challenges. Euroscola is the foundation of it. We are looking forward to this day, and we wish you and ourselves a great experience in Strasbourg. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Manta. I'm the representative of Slovenia, and I have a question. Hence, democracy is one of the fundamental values of EU. Why were the voices of people, of its own people, once again ignored while deciding about new copyright directive? We are not babies. We are completely capable of evaluating what is good for us by ourselves. Why is the EU so arrogant? It believes it is better at decision-making than we are. Why doesn't it listen to us? And how can it expect our support for union ignorant to its own people?
Since the causes of youth unemployment differ among the member states, the Youth Guarantee Initiative, one of the initiatives which stimulates youth employment, gives all member states the space to establish their own national measures. And every member state has to set up their own evaluation system to check on this. And my question is, how does the EU check on this data to make sure that there is a good overview of the situation in every member state? Thank you.
Hello, I am from Bulgaria, and I have a question about Brexit. I would like to ask what exactly will happen if Britain and Europe don't reach an agreement when they leave the European Union, and what is the possibility of this happening? Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Johan and I'm from the Netherlands. And I would like to ask the Presidium about the EU is currently closer than ever to falling apart. And this is mainly because of the Eurosceptic populists gaining votes in almost every national parliament. Sadly in the Netherlands as well. And we learned from the Brexit that leaving this union will not improve economic welfare, but in numerous member states, populistic, Eurosceptic politicians and nationalists want to exit this union. So what plan does the EU have to keep this union from falling apart due to these Eurosceptic politicians? Thank you.
Hello, I am Marian from Slovakia. And I would like to ask you, what is EU doing against fake news and propaganda?
Good morning, my name is Storm and I'm from the Netherlands.
In 2018, a new law on security services was introduced in the Netherlands. This law makes it possible for security services to hack suspects and non-suspects and share unfiltered information of normal people with foreign governments. According to organizations like Amnesty International, this law violates the privacy of civilians. Considering recent developments like this, how can the European Union protect the privacy of its citizens in the future?
Hello, I'm Luca. I'm the Irish speaker, and I would like to ask a question related to the Irish border and what the EU itself could plan to do, and how they could work with Ireland to stop the situation from devolving any further if there is a hard border in the north.
Hello, I'm representing Portugal. And talking a little bit about institution, my question is, do you think that still making sense to exist national parliaments being most of the laws applied European? For example, in Portugal, we have a national parliament. However, like 70 to 80% of our laws are European.
One of the most discussed points was the education, not only education of the youngsters, but of the adults as well. We suggested that we should show people what is going to happen in a way that we should compare. What is going to happen if they do not go ecological, and then we should as well show them the improvements that would happen if they go ecological totally. We should as well show the kids how to be ecological, how to be nice to the environment, because, as we all know, we have only one planet to live on. We should teach the kids how to, for example, recycle practically. To teach them, to show them, to let them do it so they know how to do it. For the youth, we should as well talk with the influencers and make going ecological a new trend, because who doesn't like trends? For the adults, we may ask the politicians and some ads to promote this idea of going ecological. We talked a lot about lowering the meat production, which will be very good for our planet, and replacing it with the plant production. We as well mentioned the nuclear energy, which with the new startups that we should follow, as we agreed, would be very good for us because it creates a lot of energy, and with the new startups we can lower the waste very seriously.
Hello, I have a question. You told about the reduction of meat production, and what is the alternative? Soy meat is quite expensive nowadays and it's not effective if we're speaking about the European sizes. So what's the alternative?
Our group discussed that the meat production nowadays produces a lot of CO2 as well as other substances that are not good for our environment, and replacing a part of those with the plant production will be much more effective.
And the main issue of our committee had to do with LGBTQ+ rights. And we all agreed that we should provide protection for those individuals, both in the workplace and outside, meaning that no employer should have the right to say that the potential employee should be disqualified from the hiring round just because of their sexual orientation. And we also said that all countries should make sure to charge someone who has assaulted a gay individual because they're gay. That country should make sure to charge that person with a hate crime as well as an assault crime. We all agreed that, well, the majority agreed that we should legalize gay marriage in all EU member states. And the quite controversial suggestion that passed was that we should also legalize adoption by gay couples, because we think that love is love and everyone should have the right to marry who they love. And we think that that research is quite inconclusive when it comes to the consequences of adoption by gay couples, and we think that the benefits far outweigh the negatives that are proposed by skeptics. So that is all for my committee, and I want to hear all your questions.
My name is Jess and I'm from Germany. And do we need to change our language? For example, in Germany it is really hard to change words for equality for the minority. Is it necessary to change our language?
No, it is not. You just have to, we just want equality and acceptance for the individuals that could be assaulted based on their, just as we should not discriminate someone because of their race or their gender, their religion. We think that no one should discriminate against someone because of their sexual orientation. And as science has proven, it is not. This is not being gay is not a decision that someone makes. And to be honest with you, if it was, who would want to be with all the discrimination going on in the world? So we just think that education should be a part of that. They should promote acceptance. And no, we don't think that language has anything to do with it.
Where does voting begin? It begins with knowing what to vote, for what do we vote, and what will eventually our vote mean. So by advertising, we want to give Europeans a wake-up call. There is an election coming up. So like for the youngsters among us, just throw some advertisements on Snapchat and Instagram, which are more, which are taking our attention more than the current ones, because the current advertisements on the European election are kind of boring. And also, on the information education, many people just don't know what the EU does. For example, a few weeks ago, 1 million youngsters in the whole world were protesting for action against climate change. And they wanted that the local governments were going to do more on this issue. But there's only one problem. One country can't do anything on its own. Look for example to the Netherlands. The Netherlands has only 0.0005 degrees of the total climate change in the Earth, and if we want to change something, we need to work together.
Some of our ideas were that those who want to do more should be able to do more. This applies to the member states in the European Union that want to give a European Union more options and that want more international cooperation. So this applies to, for example, the defense, the possibility of a European army, international security on the fight on terrorism, and for social matters as European employment in the European Union. Second, for changes in the European Union, we think that EU students might not be sufficiently thought about the European Union and the importance of this union. We had a lot of different opinions about this topic, but to conclude it all in one opinion, we think that schools don't choose to educate and that the accessibility is all right for knowledge about the European Union. And furthermore, we think that the importance of the European Union has to be taught to every single European citizen, because this just otherwise students will not realize all everything that the European Union has brought that's so amazing for us, such as world peace in the European Union. So now to continue to what form should the relations between Europe and its neighbors take? We had a little bit of a heated discussion on this. because the Cyprus delegation are not very happy about the annexation of a part of Cyprus in 1974 by Turkey. And this shows that we think that the European Union has to be more supportive of its own member states. We think that the European Union has to take a stance in this, so they shouldn't dwell on these topics, because, well, the annexation of a part of Cyprus, it's already 40 years ago, so the European Union has to do something about this.
I would like to start off with the idea of introducing a checkpoint system which will help decide on whether or not it is legal for an immigrant to remain in a European country. This checklist should include if the person has a job, a stable home, and that nationality's language. This will be monitored by an European office which will do its best to support an immigrant that does not check everything off the list. This goes nicely with my next point, which is the implementation of integration services. These services will help teach any person that does not speak the mother tongue of that country the language, and it shall include skills assessments and civic courses. We believe that introducing this shall help, as if the immigrants stay at home due to a lack of integration, it can be very damaging and it can separate them from society.
In the beginning you mentioned about a checkpoint for legalizing someone's staying in a country, a migrant staying in a country. What would be the criteria for someone to be legal, for someone to be legal to stay in a country? Thank you.
Well, we had discussed the idea that the person should have a job. It should have a job and it should have a stable home which they own. That would include anything like an apartment or a house, just as long as they own it. And we also had discussed that if they had any children in public schools, then it will also be legal.
So, firstly, we came to an agreement that the best way to tackle youth unemployment is to increase youth mobility, with various programs like Erasmus, or programs which provide possibilities for youngsters to volunteer in different countries. This is a way to broaden youngsters' worldview and give them more inspiration and motivation in understanding what particular job they want to do in their lives. Another point which we believe should be taken into account by the European Union is creating more initiatives which are aimed at self-development and self-promotion of young people. Firstly, many people are rejected from jobs because of the lack of the essential skills which they need for this particular job. So it would be an effective idea to provide training courses for young people to get the essential skills which they would need for this job. And also, it would be a good idea to give more possibilities for the youngsters to promote their skills and to let the world know what they can do and what kind of job they're able to do. So, to this point, I would also like to add a significant, in my opinion, idea which we formed while discussing this topic in our group. And it's the idea of promoting self-employment for youngsters. This kind of employment might seem frightening to most people since it doesn't fit in the social norms and it includes stepping out of your comfort zone. But in the end, it might be a unique opportunity for the youngsters because it gives the possibility of self-development and focusing on the things that really are a matter of interest to the young person.